The Outpost movie depicts the Battle of Camdish, which took place on October 3, 2009, at the remote Combat Outpost Keating in northeastern Afghanistan, near the town of Camdish. Over the course of that day, 300 to 400 Taliban fighters attacked a small force of 54 US soldiers who were stationed at the outpost. In this video, we're going to examine the historical accuracy of the movie, including the events leading up to the battle and the battle itself. This is The Outpost, History versus Hollywood. In comparing The Outpost's true story to the movie, one of the most effective things that the film conveys is the unsettling and nervous tension that the men were under who were stationed at the outpost. Taliban insurgents posed a constant threat. The base was attacked on average 3 to 4 times per week by sniper and small arms fire. It's true that the men who arrived were baffled by the vulnerability of the location of the outpost. Although the movie was shot at the base of a mountain in Bulgaria, it does an excellent job at recreating Combat Outpost Keating almost exactly. It's true that Outpost Keating sat deep in the valley surrounded by 3 steep mountains. For the Bulgaria shooting location, 2 of these mountains had to be inserted after filming using CGI. With the men lacking the high ground on almost all sides, it was only a matter of time before this strategic blunder turned into a nightmare. As seen in the film, it's true that the sentiment at the base was, it doesn't get any better. One of the first major events in the film is the death of First Lieutenant Benjamin Keating when the armored supply vehicle he is driving rolls over a cliffside. The biggest difference between what's seen in the film and the true story is that this event actually happened 3 years earlier in 2006, not in 2009. Benjamin Keating was actually part of the 71st Cavalry Regiment, not the 61st Cavalry Regiment who he's shown with in the film. And unlike the movie, Clint Romesha and Ty Carter, who are portrayed by Scott Eastwood and Caleb Landry Jones in the film, were not present when Benjamin Keating died. They did not serve in his unit. For the most part, Keating's death in the film is historically accurate. One big difference is that he was not alone in the truck when it went over the cliff. The squadron's senior-most mechanic, Staff Sergeant Vernon Tiller, was in the passenger seat when it went over. Tiller was also thrown from the truck, but his injuries weren't nearly as severe as Keating's. Now in the movie, Keating dies almost immediately when he lands at the bottom of the cliff near the river. In real life, he was in and out of consciousness, and they did start to retrieve him and bring him up the cliff, but he died before they got him back to the base. After he died, the true story confirms that they did name the camp Camp Keating, but this happened in December 2006, not in 2009. The next major event in the film is the death of Captain Robert Yllescas when a remotely detonated IED goes off on a footbridge he's walking over. In the film, Yeskez is portrayed by actor Milo Gibson, who is the real-life son of Mel Gibson. Timeline-wise, Yeskez' death is pushed up in the film. He actually died in 2008 as part of the 4th Cavalry Regiment, not in 2009 as part of the 61st Cav. Yeskez was indeed targeted by a radio-controlled IED as he walked across the bridge. In the movie, his severely injured body ends up in the river, and we assume he was killed instantly. In real life, his body actually ended up down on a helicopter landing area. Clinging to life, he was eventually taken out of the camp on a Chinook helicopter. Robert Yeskez was taken back to the States where he survived for a little over a month. Sadly, he succumbed to complications from his injuries on December 1st, 2008. Now in the film, there's a character named Private First Class Younger who is near Yeskez when he was blown off the bridge. As a result of the psychological trauma from witnessing the event, Younger is extracted from the camp. He corresponds to a real-life Marine lieutenant named Chris Briley, who is indeed psychologically traumatized by the experience and taken out of the camp. Perhaps the most accurate thing in the film is its depiction of the Battle of Camdish, which took place on October 3rd, 2009. The battle, which began in the early morning, found more than 300 Taliban fighters attacking a group of 54 U.S. soldiers of the 3rd Squadron 61st Cavalry Regiment. It took place at Combat Outpost Keating in northeastern Afghanistan, just 14 miles from the Pakistan border. It's true that rocket-propelled grenades and mortars caused the camp to catch fire during the battle. It's also true that during the battle, the camp was partially overrun by Taliban fighters. Some of the Taliban fighters strolled into the camp rather casually, as if they'd already won the battle. Indeed, the men heard "enemy in the wire" over the comms, and Sergeant Clint Romesha rallied his fellow soldiers by telling them, "We're taking this bitch back," as he says in the movie. I'm not going to go into every detail of this battle, simply because what you see in the film seems to be portrayed accurately. This was largely due to the fact that several of the surviving veterans acted as technical advisors on the film. This included Medal of Honor recipient Ty Carter, who is portrayed by Caleb Landry Jones in the film. As in the film, Ty Carter did jump out of the cover of a Humvee to run and rescue a badly wounded soldier named Stefan Mace. This is depicted almost exactly as it was described in Jake Tapper's nonfiction book, which was the basis for the film. Of the 53 U.S. soldiers who fought in the Battle of Camdish at Outpost Keating, 8 lost their lives and 27 were wounded. Together, the soldiers prevented the base from being overrun. If you want to learn more about the outpost's true story and historical accuracy, including why was an outpost constructed in such a vulnerable location, check out our article over on historyversushollywood.com that's linked in the description below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, drop a mortar on that like button and subscribe to our channel. Anchors away, my friends.